In June 2019, the massive container ship MSC Gayane sailed into the port of Philadelphia. On the surface, it appeared to be just another vessel in the endless flow of global trade, one of thousands that pass through American ports every year, carrying everything from electronics to clothing. But, beneath this routine arrival, something extraordinary was about to unfold. Acting on a confidential tip, federal agents swarmed the ship as it docked. What they discovered was staggering. Hidden deep within the cargo, nearly 20 tons of pure cocaine. This wasn't just a routine drug bust, it was one of the largest drug seizures in U.S. history, a find that would send shockwaves through law enforcement and the shipping industry alike. The street value of the seized cocaine was estimated at over $1.3 billion, a sum so vast it's almost hard to comprehend. The sheer scale of the operation left authorities and the public stunned. This was no small-time smuggling attempt. It was an industrial-scale operation, meticulously planned and executed, that exposed a shocking vulnerability in the world of international shipping, a system that moves trillions of dollars in goods each year. How could such a vast quantity of drugs be loaded onto a modern, supposedly secure vessel owned by the world's largest shipping line? The question sent ripples of concern through the maritime industry, raising doubts about the effectiveness of current security protocols. The answer, investigators soon learned, lay in deep infiltration and corruption within the ship's own crew. Smugglers had managed to recruit insiders, turning trusted seafarers into accomplices in a global criminal enterprise. The MSC Gayane case revealed a disturbing truth. Criminal organizations had transformed a symbol of global commerce into a vessel for billion-dollar crime, exploiting the very arteries of international trade. This historic bust was more than just a record-breaking seizure, it was a wake-up call. It highlighted the evolving tactics of transnational cartels, who now use sophisticated methods and global networks to move their illicit cargo. As the investigation unfolded, authorities would uncover a sprawling web of conspiracy stretching from the jungles of South America to the ports of Europe, all orchestrated by the notorious and elusive Balkan Cartel, a criminal network with reach across continents. The drugs weren't loaded at a port. This was no ordinary smuggling operation. Instead, the traffickers orchestrated a bold and highly sophisticated plan that would unfold far from the eyes of law enforcement. They were transferred at sea, under cover of darkness, where the vastness of the ocean offered both concealment and opportunity. The night provided the perfect camouflage, making detection nearly impossible. As the Gayane sailed off the coast of South America, a fleet of speedboats packed with cocaine raced across the waves to meet the massive cargo ship in open water. The operation was timed with precision, each boat arriving at a prearranged location, far from any prying eyes. Crew members, already in on the plot, used the ship's own crane to hoist massive nets of cocaine aboard. This was a feat requiring not just strength, but careful coordination, secrecy, and the trust of those involved. Without inside help, such a transfer would have been impossible. By conducting the transfer in international waters, the smugglers bypassed port security entirely, exploiting the lawless expanse of the ocean. Out here, there were no cameras, no customs agents, and no patrols. Just endless water and the cover of night. The operation depended on trusted insiders, crew members who could be relied upon to keep quiet, follow orders, and ensure the plan went off without a hitch. Skilled crew operated the heavy equipment, while lookouts kept watch for any unexpected vessels or aircraft. Every role was crucial, and every mistake could mean disaster. Others blended in, performing their daily routines to avoid suspicion, all while knowing exactly when and where the illegal cargo would be brought aboard. Multiple transfers took place during the voyage, each one adding to the ship's illicit cargo. By the end, the Gayane had become a floating Trojan horse for the cartel, carrying tons of cocaine hidden among legitimate goods. The investigation would later reveal that this was no rogue act by a few greedy sailors. It was a coordinated effort involving a significant portion of the crew, including a high-ranking officer who orchestrated the entire scheme from within. The scale and audacity of the operation stunned authorities worldwide, forcing them to rethink how drugs could be smuggled by sea. It was a wake-up call that changed the playbook for maritime smuggling forever. At least 8 crew members were in on the plot, including the chief mate. the ship's second-in-command. The chief mate controlled work schedules and the stowage plan, ensuring only trusted crew were on duty during the nighttime transfers. Cartel recruiters had approached several crew members before the voyage, offering life-changing sums up to $50,000 each. During the heist, corrupted crew operated the crane, acted as lookouts, and used burner phones to coordinate with the speedboats. Once aboard, the cocaine was hidden inside legitimate containers, with seals swapped for counterfeits to avoid detection. The captain was not implicated, but the chief mate's betrayal handed control to the traffickers during critical hours. The case showed how a few strategically placed insiders could compromise an entire billion-dollar vessel. The crew's complicity was the foundation of the smuggling operation. Without them, the cartel's plan would have been impossible. The mastermind behind the Gayane operation was the Balkan Cartel, a network of criminal groups from Montenegro, Serbia, and Albania. Unlike traditional cartels, the Balkan Cartel operates as a loose network, making it hard to dismantle, their specialty infiltrating legitimate industries, especially shipping. MSC, a major employer in Montenegro, became a prime recruiting ground for cartel operatives. The cartel patiently embedded insiders within MSC's workforce, gaining access to ships' routes and security protocols. Corrupted crew could disable tracking, communicate with smugglers, and hide drugs undetected. The Gayane bust was the most dramatic example of a long-running global campaign to turn commercial shipping into a delivery system for cocaine. The Gayane bust was just the tip of the iceberg. For years, authorities had tracked a pattern of drug smuggling linked to MSC vessels, including the MSC Desiree, Carlotta, and Avni. Crew members would toss duffel bags of cocaine overboard near European ports, where speedboats retrieved them. Despite warnings to MSC about crew vulnerability, the cartel's infiltration continued. Major European ports like Antwerp and Rotterdam, with their massive volume, became prime targets. The cartel treated occasional seizures as a cost of doing business. Most shipments slipped through. The Gayane was simply the most spectacular time they got caught, exposing the scale of the problem. The Gayane case highlights the near-impossible task facing customs agencies. With over 200 million containers shipped annually, only a tiny fraction can be inspected. Ports like Antwerp scan just 1–2% of containers. The rest move on unchecked. Smugglers exploit this, knowing that proper paperwork and intact seals mean most containers pass through. Customs rely on intelligence, risk analysis, and tips, like the one that led to the Gayane bust. Even advanced scanners and sniffer dogs can be fooled by sophisticated concealment. The sheer scale of global trade gives traffickers the advantage. Without that crucial tip, the Gayane's cocaine would likely have reached its destination undetected. Today's traffickers use ingenious methods to hide drugs in the global supply chain. Cocaine is dissolved in liquids, mixed into plastics, or molded into everyday products. Smugglers build false walls and hidden compartments in containers, making detection nearly impossible. Refrigerated containers, or reefers, are prime targets. Drugs can be hidden in mechanical compartments without breaking the main seal. The rip-on rip-off technique uses corrupt port workers to insert and remove drugs, swapping seals to avoid suspicion. Every new concealment method spawns a new challenge for law enforcement. Traffickers invest heavily in staying ahead, turning every container into a potential puzzle box. Even when a container's flagged, finding the drugs is far from guaranteed. The cat-and-mouse game between smugglers and customs is relentless, and the odds often favor the criminals. The Gayane bust put MSC, the world's largest shipping line, under intense scrutiny. Overnight, the company found itself at the center of a global scandal, with headlines around the world questioning how such a massive drug shipment could slip through the cracks of a major corporation's operations. U.S. authorities argued MSC hadn't done enough to prevent cartel infiltration, especially after prior warnings. Investigators pointed to lapses in security protocols and suggested that organized crime had exploited weaknesses in the company's vast network, raising concerns about oversight and accountability. Customs suspended MSC's trusted trader status and seized the $100 million Gayane, demanding a $50 million bond for its release. The move sent shockwaves through the shipping industry, as few expected such a high-profile vessel to be caught up in a criminal investigation of this scale. The company faced potential fines of over $700 million and a civil case seeking permanent forfeiture of the ship. Legal teams scrambled to respond while shareholders and industry analysts watched anxiously, aware that the outcome could set a precedent for future cases. The message was clear: shipping lines could be held responsible for illicit cargo on their vessels. For the first time, the industry realized that the consequences of failing to detect smuggling could be catastrophic, not just for profits, but for reputation and trust. In response, MSC invested millions in new security measures, surveillance, background checks, and closer cooperation with law enforcement. The company overhauled its internal procedures, implementing advanced scanning technology and mandatory training for staff at every level. The bust was a wake-up call for the entire industry, forcing a reckoning over corporate responsibility in the fight against drug trafficking. Shipping executives worldwide began to reassess their own vulnerabilities, realizing that no company was immune to the reach of international cartels. The risks of operating in a world targeted by sophisticated criminal organizations had never been clearer. The Gayane case exposed just how easily global supply chains could be manipulated and how quickly a company's fortunes could change. The case is ongoing, with MSC arguing it took all reasonable precautions. The company maintains that it was blindsided by the smugglers' tactics and insists it is now leading the way in industry reforms. The Gayane incident redefined the stakes for global shipping, serving as a stark reminder that in today's interconnected world, vigilance and responsibility are more important than ever. The 8 complicit crew members, including the chief mate and second officer, were arrested and pleaded guilty, receiving prison sentences in the U.S. Their downfall sent a warning to other seafarers tempted by cartel money, but these men were just foot soldiers. The real target was the Balkan Cartel's leadership. The investigation expanded globally, targeting the network that recruited sailors and managed logistics. Years later, a former Balkan heavyweight boxer was arrested in Miami, accused of coordinating sailor recruitment and at-sea transfers. His arrest marked a breakthrough in dismantling the cartel's command structure. The legal battle continues, with the U.S. seeking forfeiture of the Gayane and authorities worldwide pursuing the cartel. The Gayane bust was not the end, but the beginning of a new era in the fight against cartel infiltration of global shipping. Securing the world's shipping lanes remains an urgent, ongoing battle.